She would never would do our future to begin with. I think she's, you know, so it's so the church's position then is that it can be
Good evening. On behalf of the staff and the council here at Rochester CRC, I'd like to welcome you to tonight's musical performance, celebrating and showcasing some of the fabulous musicians that are part of our community, and also this beautiful Pels and Van Leeuwen organ that we have on the wall in the back here. This year is actually the 40th anniversary of its installation here at our church, which means that that organ is older than I am, and is beginning to show some signs of aging as it does. And we've been told that the repairs for that organ are going to cost us about $30,000. So if you feel so led tonight, as you hear this wonderful organ, to donate towards that cause, to the repairs to keep it working, you can do so in two ways. There's a little QR code that you can find on the front of your program. You can scan that and donate online. You can also donate via check or cash in the offering envelopes that you'll see in the pews in front of you, and those can be placed right in the offering boxes on the back wall. the, remember what I'm supposed to say here. After tonight's performance, we are going to have a light reception, so don't hurry out when we're done. Go ahead and join us right outside for some lemonade and some cookies. We're going to kick things off with a video that shows you a little bit more about our organ, how it works, and this has been made by a couple of people from our congregation. So we will kick things off tonight with that, and then our musicians will take it from there. So sit back and relax, enjoy some beautiful music, and thank you so much for coming.
The best description of a pipe organ I have ever heard, at least that amuses me the most, is what Michael Barone of Pipe Dreams, the radio program Pipe Dreams, said. And he says it's essentially a box filled with whistles and buzzers. They look at the facade and they think, oh, that looks nice, and that's the organ. And what they don't realize is there's a whole world behind what they're seeing. Organs are unique in that they are a wind instrument that produces a sustained tone. So unlike a piano, when you press a key on a piano, eventually that tone is just going to die away. Whereas when you have a pipe organ, you can sit here and hold a key indefinitely. Each pitch, each key has a pipe, and each set of pipes makes up a rank. So in this case, what I've got on here is the 8-foot prestante, which is a unique sound to the organ, and that's the foundational sound upon which a pipe organ is built. You have your typical 8-foot. I can add my 4-foot. My 2-foot. And now, a mixture, in this case, we have 3 ranks, which means there are 3 pipes for each note, and it adds a much brighter sound. Pipes can be separated into 2 categories, flue pipes and reed pipes. The wider the pipe gets, the more fluty sound it's going to have. You start getting a little narrower in scale, and that's when you get the sound that's unique to the organ itself, and that's your principals. Principals are very good for hymn singing and stuff like that. Even reeds come in different colors. I've already showed you the trumpet. That's your buzzer right there. But there's another buzzer in this organ. It's on the other manual. This one's called a dulcian. Pipe length determines your pitch. So pipes go from, in big concert organs, they go anywhere from 32 feet or down to a speaking length of less than your pinky fingernail. The shorter the pipe gets, the higher the pitch goes.
Fascinating stuff.
Yes. If the organ's well maintained, it can last a long time. So it's very cool to know that this organ will be playing for future generations. And that's what makes the job so fulfilling, is that, you know, part of me feels like when you're building an organ, you're building something that you know will last and that people can enjoy for many years to come.
everybody hear me? Hello. Thanks. So welcome all to Rochester Christian Reformed Church. I'm Ryan Chan. I'm the organist here. And thank you so much for coming out on such a lovely Friday evening to join us for such lovely music. And what better way to start than Bach, especially joined by a heavenly choir of angels as well as violin. You heard the toccata, famous toccata and fugue in D minor, as well as 2 movements from a cantata. And you might recognize the Jesus, Joy of Men's Desiring. And now, onto something completely different. Tonight's program really, I think, celebrates or showcases the many different colors that this organ has and the many style of pieces that it could play. And so the following piece is by an American contemporary composer, David Conti. He's actually a great friend of my organ professor, David Hicks. He teaches composition at the San Francisco Conservatory. And this piece is called Soliloquy. And if you are into theater, you might recognize this as a theatrical device. It's where an actor on stage gives a sort of monologue of his or her inner thoughts. So it's a very intimate piece, but you can also hear great ideas, and there's like some pride in it as well. So this is Soliloquy by Conti.
I asked Ryan to come and play for us at the piano because I don't know if you all realize, this is really a hot mic. He has a master's degree in harpsichord performance. So he is a multi-keyboardist, and we're so privileged to have him here at the church. So what can I say about Florence Price? I mean, a lot of us know many things about her at this point. She is, I heard her today. Her third symphony was aired on WXXI or WXXO. Does anybody understand what's happening there? Anyway, she was the first African American woman to have a piece played by the Chicago Symphony Orchestra back in, I don't know, I should know, the 20s, 30s. But she's somebody who just was a great talent, and so arose to have some national fame, but still really felt, both as a woman and as an African American, that she didn't get to sort of rise as high as she might have wanted to. So the first line of the text, if you've looked in your program, is I know why the caged bird sings. Do you recognize that? Right? From Maya Angelou, right? Okay. So, and many people think of Maya Angelou when they hear that, but it's actually from the poet Paul Laurence Dunbar. He came a little bit earlier than Florence Price. He was sort of turn of the century, only lived a short 33 years, but again, rose to be, he was friends with Frederick Douglass, the Wright brothers, like this really interesting collection of people. But one of the things I think is interesting about this text is that he supposedly, according to Florence Price, he wrote this text when he was working in the Library of Congress. And it was just not a great job. And I think he felt very trapped. And then he also was a thinker and a writer about civil rights as well, which is, where that connection to Frederick Douglass came. So I know why the caged bird sings. There are multiple levels probably to maybe even why Florence Price chose this poem to set, but anyway, enjoy Sympathy.
Now a little change of scenery again. We're going to hear a piece by a Hungarian composer, Gardoni. He's currently a living composer. And he wrote this very curious piece for the organ called Mozart Changes. And the beginning of this piece sounds like a normal Mozart sonata, which it is. It actually came from the sonata in D major, number 16, but then it transforms to something else. And it almost seems as if Gardoni had too much fun with it and had a few drinks, and then afterwards transformed it into a jazz piece with a lot of swing to it. So please enjoy Mozart Changes.
How fun. Okay, maybe a sharp left turn, I don't know. But the next piece is by Arvo Pärt. Many of you, I'm sure, know his music, and I'll try not to say too much because I really do appreciate his music quite a bit. So just a few fun facts. So he, in 1980, I believe, was exiled for his, by the USSR at the time, for his political stances and really what he was expressing in his music. And he's an Estonian composer. And so he spent a long time, maybe 30 years in, first in Vienna and then in Berlin. And so the text of this piece, which is a Robert Burns poem about longing for a place that you miss, and just one little quick fun fact about the USSR actually, for some reason, had some connection to Robert Burns' poetry, and so many kids growing up in Russia and other countries could recite Robert Burns' poetry from memory, even with the dialect, the Scottish dialect, and they didn't really know what they were saying, but they could recite it by heart, which is kind of interesting. But anyway, you will hear that sort of mournful longing, I think, in this unique piece, which, although it sounds very minimalist, as Arvo Pärt style typically is, it's quite complicated for the organ. So.
And speaking of minimalist, following that is a piece by the film composer Hans Zimmer from Interstellar. And this is Cornfield Chase from the movie. And this is an organ arrangement by Anna Lovewood, who is a very famous British organist nowadays, maybe in the recent 5 or 6 years or so. She's really popular on TikTok and all the social media, and she really does a lot of outreach and then kind of bridging the gap between, not everybody might appreciate, the more classics or traditional. So she plays a lot of contemporary stuff to get more young people into the organ, which is a great thing. Pärt and then Zimmer. And coming to the end of tonight's program, we are traveling to 19th century Paris, which was really the center of music activities and especially organ. We just had the French Revolution happened, which destroyed a lot of churches and institutions, and a lot of instruments as well were destroyed. So it kind of paved a new wave of a different style of organ building and music, and this is the French Romantic style of organ. And the most famous builder of this time is Cavaille-Coll. And if you travel to France, and especially in Paris, to Notre Dame, to Saint-Sulpice, all those famous churches, you will find still his instruments. And those are really bucket list instruments for every organist. You're going to hear two pieces in that style. The first is by Saint-Saëns. Saint-Saëns is actually an organist as well. You might be more familiar with his orchestral and piano music, but he wrote a lot for the organ. And this is an arrangement of the very famous piece by him, The Swan, normally played on the cello, on the solo line, but this version will be for the organ. And then the last piece in the program, I'm not going to try to pronounce the name of the composer, but just his last name, Levet-Beveli. He really was the organ prince of his time. Every time Cavaille-Coll, the organ builder, had a new instrument, he would ask Levet-Beveli to be the one to inaugurate the instrument. And he really knows how to speak to the crowd through music. And he writes in this operatic style, very easy listening, very tuneful and melodic. And this piece in particular, the Sortie, it's meant as a postlude to be played in church, but it's really fun. It's like circus music. So thank you all for being here tonight to join us for this wonderful assortment of music. Please enjoy.
So don't forget, there's a little reception back here, and you can greet Ryan and ask him all the questions about the organ. There's also a show here on these screens out in the fellowship hall thank you, Sarah. I saw her walk out. Anyway, Sarah has been extraordinarily helpful with all of this, and she created this show of pictures from when the organ was installed. So maybe you'll see yourself in some of these pictures. But yeah, some really fun facts about all of that. So come on back. Thank you. Thanks for coming.